Hi everyone! So somehow my intro for my video got deleted off my camera card, so I'll be talking for the first part of the video. I'll try to be fast so you don't have to stare at this boring picture. But this is a tutorial for Mickey Mouse, and I posted this exact picture on Instagram and everybody went crazy over it. So I will be posting a Minnie Mouse tutorial later on, but this one's just for Mickey Mouse. What you'll need today are, unfortunately, you do need 2 looms for Mickey. You will need a lot of black rubber bands, some red rubber bands, and 4 yellow rubber bands. And you also need 3 C-clips, 1 to hold everything together, and 2 to do the little Mickey buttons, the yellow buttons. So I hope you all like this video. This is my original design and I'm so excited to share it with you guys, and stay tuned later for a Minnie Mouse tutorial. Okay, so like I said in the intro, my intro that I filmed did get cut off my camera card. And then after I edited that and went to look for the second clip, which had the tutorial for Mickey's ears, I realized that that also got cut off as well. So I was just in the middle of editing and I ran downstairs so I could film the ears tutorial. So here I am now doing it. You do need 2 looms for this, unfortunately, and if you see that my Mickey's ears are placed differently in this part of the video than later, it's just because I filmed them in 2 different times. Before we get started, I would like to say that this is a very, very advanced charm tutorial. For those of you who are not as advanced and experienced with using Rainbow Loom, I do encourage you to look through the video first and make sure that it's something you might be able to do, just to save yourself from some time and frustration from doing this, because I know how frustrating it can get when a tutorial just doesn't help you at all. Okay, so now let's get started with the ears. Okay, so for one ear we will be using 6 pins around here. So I'm gonna go ahead and start with black bands, and I'm gonna go from this top pin to this diagonal one right here. And if you see me throughout the video like have my hand covering the bands, I realize I did that a lot while I was editing. It's just me pushing the rubber bands down. And then I'm gonna go downwards and diagonal. Upwards. And then our last band for the perimeter is that one. So I'm going to push all my bands down. Oh, and also in the video you'll notice that I'm wearing like really badly chipped nail polish. And yeah, my nails don't really have any more anymore. So, okay, now I'm going to start with diagonal bands, and I'm going to be using double bands, 2 rubber bands stacked up upon each other like this. And I'm going to go ahead and put them from the middle pin upwards. And then I'm going to take double bands again and go diagonal. And all of these diagonal bands that we're putting on throughout this are double bands. Okay, so now that we've finished putting all those rubber bands on, I'm just going to push them down. And now we are ready to put on our cap band. For our cap band, I have 1 single rubber band here. And since this is my original design, I spent hours and hours trying to figure out how to make it. I did so many tests, and there were some really horrible Mickey Mouses that did come out. And I also realized that for the cap band you do need to twist it around this middle pin 4 times, because 2 times just leaves a hole in the middle. So I'm going to wrap this around 4 times in the middle pin. So now I'm going to go ahead and start the hooking process now. So I'm going to go inside this cap band right here, and this can get kind of hard. So
I'll change my camera angle for you guys. So I'm going to start with my hook and go inside this cap band that is wrapped around 4 times. And I'm just going to make sure that my bands are separated from the cap band just so it's easier. And be careful when hooking double bands just because it gives stress on your hook, and if your hook starts turning white right here, that does mean it could be breaking soon because all the tension. So I'm going to reach in my cap band and grab this band right here. We're going to start with this diagonal band. And you can hook the double bands one at a time, or you can do them both at the same time. If you're afraid of your hook breaking, you can do one at a time. Okay, so I'm going to go do this band right here. And we will be going in a counterclockwise direction, starting with this diagonal one. Okay, and now I'm going to be hooking this bottom one. And be very careful when you're hooking these bottom ones, just because it's easier to have them fall off your hook. And finally, I'm going to do the top one. Okay, now I have finished hooking on all the bands that go outwards, and now we're going to do the bands that go in the perimeter around. So I'm going to start at the top and grab this band right here. And I'm going to lift that up and hook it over here. And now I'm going to grab this band right here from inside this peg. Make sure you go through all the rubber bands on here because that one's kind of hard. Okay, so now we have finished hooking all the rubber bands in Mickey's ears, and we're going to go ahead and do the second one now.
Okay, so for this second one, please rewatch the tutorial section that you just watched to make the second ear.
Okay, so now we're going to go ahead and start putting rubber bands on for Mickey's head. So I'm going to go ahead and start with black. I'm going to grab a black band, and I'm going to go from this pin to this pin right here. Scoot those down, take another black one and go from this pin to this pin. And now I'm going to go ahead and turn a corner, and I'm going to go down instead of diagonal. And then another change again, I'm going to take red now, and I'm going to go down. Turning another corner, I'm going to go ahead and put red this way. And basically what we're doing is making a hexagon. So there's going to be, there's going to be 2 rubber bands on each side. So I'm going to keep going with the red, and what this is going to end up looking like is the bottom half is going to be red and the top half is going to be black. So I'm going to keep going with that red. And do one more red, and then we're going to go back over to black. like that. So I'm going to go back to black now. And turn another corner. And then finally finish it off right here. Okay, so we've done the perimeter now, so I'm just going to scoot my bands down, and then we are now ready to fill in the middle. So we're not going to have to do double bands again like we did on Mickey's ears, but we're still going to be putting bands on the inside. So I'm going to start with black and I'm going to go up, and basically what we're going to be doing is doing kind of almost like a zigzag formation. So I've already put one up, and now I'm going to go diagonal. I'm going to go diagonal again. Okay. So now I'm going to go ahead and take red now, just so I can do the bottom half again. So I'm going to start with red again. Red over here. And there's not really much to say about these instructions. Just by looking at the video you can pretty much tell what to do. So I'm just going to keep going with the red until I reach the last half. Okay, so I'm going to do one more red rubber band. And now I'm going to go back to black. So I'm going to continue on and going down with the zigzag. Okay, and I just need one more black rubber band now. Okay, and I am done with putting rubber bands along the outside edges in the zigzag pattern, so I'm just going to scoop my bands down again. Okay, so now we're going to do what we did with the ear in the middle of here, just without the double bands on the inside part. So I'm going to go ahead and outline the outside. I'm going to start at the top again like always, and I'm going to go down. And I'm going to go upwards. And now I'm going to take a red rubber band and I'm going to go up this way and over this way. And I'm going to go back to black again and over with black. So now when we did this, I used 2 red and 4 black, but don't worry, it'll still come out looking okay even though it's not the same amount. So I'm going to go and do the middle parts by going outwards like this. So I'm going to start by going upwards. And this is just like the ear, except I'm not using double bands. The side, downwards like that. And then my last band right here. Okay, so now before we start doing the hooking process, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to do a cap band on the middle peg right here. And I'm going to wrap it around 4 times because we don't want a hole in the middle of Mickey's body. Okay, so we are now ready to start the hooking process. So I have my hook right here, and I'm going to go ahead and start in this little cap band right here, and I'm going to go inside and grab this band right here. So I'm going to go in, and the first band is always the hardest to get just because, you know, there's a ton of bands in the way, so be careful. And I have my first one done, and I'm going to do my second one, which is this one. And this bottom one. Oops. And that one. Okay, so now before we go any further, we're going to go ahead and put the Mickey's ears on. So for Mickey's ears, I'm going to go ahead, and since the loose end is right here, I'm going to go ahead and push all the rubber bands down on that. And now I'm just going to use my hook and very carefully pull these bands off. If you pull really hard, your hook could break and the rubber bands could snap as well. So be careful on that. Okay, and then now this one. I'm just using my thumb to hold down the rubber bands that are loose so they won't fall off. Okay, now this next step is really hard, so try and keep up with me. I'm going to go ahead and pick this up on my hook. So I'm going to pull it off, put it on my hook, like that. So now I'm going to go down to my Mickey, and I'm going to use these two pins. So I'm going to stick these loose ones on this pin right here. So I'm going to get my finger in there and put them on this pin, making sure that there's no rubber bands that are loose sticking out. And so I have them on here, but I also want to put some on here just for support and for the look. So I'm going to reach into this part right here of my bands. It's just like one of the loops of the bands that we did earlier, and I'm going to pick it up with my hook and I'm going to put it around this pin right here, which is kind of confusing, but I hope you all catch on. And I have to say that doing the ears is one of the hardest parts, like moving them, just because there's so many bands to put on. And I'm going to reach into this hole right here. I'll zoom in so you can see. This hole right here. I'm going to reach in, put my hook inside, and then I'm going to put it on to this pin right here. Like that. Okay, now that we finished that, we can continue the hooking process again. So we've already done these 6 out already, so I'm going to go ahead and do the perimeter of this. So I'm going to reach into the top one and grab this band right here, put it around here. This is basically the same thing as the ear. Just reach in here and grab this red one right here. Then continue on with the black again. Okay, so now we're going to start undoing the bands that go in a zigzag kind of formation. So I'm going to start at the top and hook these onto the pegs that they belong to. And then I'm going to go again counterclockwise like I always do. And then I'm going to go down here and do these 3 red ones right here. Sorry, my hand keeps getting in the way. Okay, now I'm going to do the last section right here, which are these 3 bands over here. And I will zoom in super close for you guys to see this time. So it's going to be these 2 and this one right here. Okay, and so now I am done doing the whole zigzag part. Now we are ready to start on doing the final step, or almost final step, which is the perimeter of Mickey. So I'm going to go ahead and start at the top and grab this top band right here. Put it over here, and then I'm going to reach in this pin. And the ears parts are really hard because there's a ton of rubber bands here, so be really careful. And also make sure that you're grabbing the right rubber band. Sometimes you might not be. Okay, so I've now crossed the hard part, which is where the ears are, so I can continue on. Okay, so I have now finished hooking the perimeter and my Mickey is complete. So now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put a band right here so I can hold all this stuff together. So I'm just gonna take a black band. You can also take a clear band, which is what I did on my other Mickey Mouse. Okay, and I'm just going to take one of my 3 C-clips and I'm going to go ahead and put this on that band right here that holds everything. So I'm going to just slip this on. And now we are ready to take off everything off the loom. So be very, very careful just because the hook can break if you're using your hook to take it off, which is what I do. Just because there's so many rubber bands on the pegs. So I'm going to go ahead and carefully take the rubber bands off. Be extremely careful around the ears because there's a ton of rubber bands there and your hook has a greater risk of breaking. Just going to go ahead and use my hands to pull this part off very carefully. Okay, so we have our almost finished product here. I'm just going to go ahead and give Mickey a little bit of stretch outs just to give him a little bit of shape and form. Okay, and now we are ready to add the little yellow X's on his little clothing right here. He's got little yellow buttons, so I'm gonna go ahead and put those on now. Now this part is really hard to film, so I'm so sorry if this gets messed up. Let's go ahead and get started. So it's kind of a guess and check sort of thing when you're doing the little buttons. You just gotta find a spot where you think that the buttons will look good and just stick your hook inside. I think right about here would make a good spot for a button. Right here, and I'm just going to take one of my 4 yellow rubber bands, hook it, and pull it through the little hole that my hook is through. So Just pull it through like that. And as you can see, I have the hook with the band on this side and band on this side. So on this side, I'm going to go ahead and put a C-clip there so my rubber band doesn't fall out. So just be very careful. Now I'm going to find the other hole that his button's going to go in, which is this one right here. And I'm just going to grab the yellow band and pull it through. And then attach this end onto the C-clip. Like that. So now I'm going to make the other part of his little X. Okay, so now I'm just going to do Mickey's other little button over here, and then I'll be back. Okay, so I finished doing Mickey's buttons, and I did fix this one a little bit because it was a little bit messed up. But I really hope you guys liked my tutorial. I spent like hours trying to figure out how to make this, and I will also have a Minnie Mouse tutorial coming up for you guys. And it is my original design. I made it up by myself, and I am so excited to present it to you guys. So stay tuned for a Minnie Mouse tutorial, and I will see you guys later. Please follow my Instagram, that is linked down below, and subscribe, of course, and thumbs up because it really helps me a lot. And I know a lot of you requested a cherries tutorial on Instagram as well as a hexafish tutorial, so I will try my best. I really don't like doing hexafish just because it takes a lot of rubber bands and a ton of time, because my angel halo bracelet I think does justice to it. So okay, I'll see you guys later. Thanks for watching. Bye.